Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Good morning everyone. Okay, so today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 5th October 2021. Okay, so yes, first of all we'll try to know which are the important articles, we'll try to understand their context, relevance to our examination. Okay, so on first page, see recent farm protests that are going on. Recently there was violence and simultaneously Supreme Court is also listening to the petitions. Okay, so right to have free movement, such kind of petitions are there in Supreme Court filed by some of the citizens who are finding it difficult, let's say their movement on a daily basis to work and from home to work, all these things are happening. And Supreme Court from time to time is asking farmers to end the protests, especially when the matter is subjudiced, and Supreme Court has asked, or we can say state, the implementation of these laws. This is the crux. Okay, so there is no other things going on here. Now other important, we can say, article, government moots changes to the Forest Conservation Act 1980. So basics about that is important. Environmental law. So in GS3 paper, environment section as well as for prelims examination, it is important. Okay, so what is this Forest Conservation Act, its objective, so all these things we have to understand, and what are the proposed changes by the Environment Ministry. Okay, we will look into that. Then okay, now moving on page number 6 directly, editorial page, lead article, an alphabet soup New Delhi needs to sift through. Okay, so the article is having the context of AUKUS formed within a kind of, let's say, quad grouping by US and its allies, but yes, the article has a different issue being discussed here. It talks about India being the member of different regional alliances. Some of them are active, some of them are not active, and that too we can say that for achieving or fulfilling India's interest, we need to rationalize them. Okay, so we need to rationalize India's membership to these different alliances, and around 10 to 12 such alliances are mentioned there. So what is our task is, let's say, at home, in the meantime, today what you can do is just point out all these alliances and basics about them, prepare notes for prelims examination. Likewise, I will talk about them, which are these alliances mentioned there. Then on page number 7 there is one article. Okay, remaining articles are political in nature, editorial. Okay, so science over smog towers on page number 7. So the article talks about smog towers and whether they are efficient in reducing the air pollution. Okay, so they are talking about, let's say, lack of data availability, empirical data or studies regarding efficacy of these smog towers in reducing air pollution. Okay, so there is no such study, they are saying, and that's why it gives some kind of misdirection to the policymakers and wastage of taxpayers' money in, we can say, not effective measures to deal with this air pollution. So they are saying that the government needs to focus on already established measures and more investment in such measures here. We will talk about that. Okay. On page number 8, hold Sri Lanka provincial polls. At the same time, other articles, Shringla pushes projects connectivity in Sri Lanka. So basically our foreign secretary is on 4-day visit to Sri Lanka, and the outcome of that visit we are going to discuss, India-Sri Lanka bilateral issue. So we will talk about which are the issues, positives, negatives related to bilateral relations, because there is syllabus GS2 paper, international relations, India and its neighbors. Okay, so in that manner we can expect the question. Then okay, on page number 9 again political news are there. Yes, on page number 10 there is article drone based vaccine delivery model launched. Okay, so it is officially by the government, okay, or Ministry of Health, it has launched this initiative in Northeast India for vaccine delivery. Excuse me. Yes, so there was one question in prelims examination regarding applications of drones. We'll look into that question also. Such kind of question being asked regarding application of different new technologies. Okay, so what you can do is make a note of all this, because in one news you will not find all applications. So over the period of 1 year, 1.5 year, when you are following these news, no, you try to find out all these applications, have follow up on them and make note of it. So in revision you will find them at one place in your notes. Okay? Yes. Then there is one article, Code 6 Model Builder Buyer Pact. So here the Supreme Court has taken the recognition of how some of the, let's say, buyers or let's say common people, they are facing problems, some kind of, let's say, harassment by the builders in delaying the possession or giving the possession of these houses. They give different kind of reasons, and because of that the people are facing economic problems. Okay, so the Supreme Court has said that there should be model builder buyer pact. Okay, so this is to some extent example of judicial activism. This is the role of executive, right, government policy making, and now Supreme Court is asking the government to come up with such kind of model act or model pact should be there. Already RERA is there, but that RERA regulations are not being implemented effectively in some of the states. Okay, so yes, we will talk about that, but a small news is there, it is not important, rather you can just give reference to this as a judicial activism whenever the question is asked in GS2 paper. Okay, fine. Now we will discuss them one by one in detail. Yes, so first article on page number 6, lead article, an alphabet soup New Delhi needs to sift through. So the context here is we are talking about the AUKUS that was recently formed, but the article is different. You know, up till now we discussed about AUKUS, then whether it will reduce the importance of Quad and all these things we discussed. But this article written by former diplomat, he is talking about how India is member of different alliances and many of these alliances are not active, not having the appropriate common agenda in line with India's national interest, and therefore we need to rationalize the membership of these alliances. The article discusses some examples, and yes, the plethora of regional alliances and all these things. So examples, let me first of all give you the examples of all these regional alliances. Like for example, there is SAARC, there is BIMSTEC, then there is IOR, IORA, okay, Indian Ocean Rim Association, then we can say there is ASEAN, or we can say first of all we will talk about India's membership and groups. BRICS is there, then we have SCO, then we have IPSA, okay, yes. Now the other groupings which are mentioned in the article, ASEAN is there, then there is mention of Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, there is mention of NSG, Nuclear Supplier Group, then there is mention of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay, so these are the organizations mentioned in the article, alliances, and you can see India's membership to these 6. Anything I am missing in this? You can add. Okay, so fine. Now what is your homework for today? You need to find out basics of all these groupings, when these were formed, then members of them, headquarters or secretariat where it is located. Then you can say whether India is member or not of these organizations. At the same time, objective or aim of this organization, whether it is political, economic or security military alliance. Okay, you should be aware about the objective or aim of this organization. Okay, and any such kind of agreement in recent times, we can say signed by these regional alliances. Fine. Now, let us talk about what the article is talking about. Yes. So, problem is, yes, example of SAARC in initial part is being discussed. So, yes, when the idea of SAARC, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Now, this SAARC, when the idea of SAARC was given, India was hesitant in joining or having such kind of regional alliance. Why? Because India was not having good relations with Pakistan. Okay, and to some extent, India was concerned that such bilateral issues will not help in having regional grouping or progress of such regional grouping here. But India joined with some kind of we can say caveats, like for example, it was mentioned in the charter of SAARC that bilateral issues will not be discussed. There will be consensus based decisions, and we can say the voting based decisions will be taken, right. At the same time, even if one member is absent, then the summit will take place, because there are chances, no, either India will be absent, Pakistan will be absent, such kind of things will happen. Sure. So, but we can see that the SAARC has not progressed up to the mark. Okay, and we can say that South Asia is the least integrated region in the world. Despite of having common history, despite of having, let's say, common geographical aspect, the South Asia is least integrated. So, we can take the example of well integrated regions. Southeast Asia, neighborhood of India, ASEAN grouping. Okay, so Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. So, this is highly integrated region, we can say, in terms of economic connectivity, infrastructure, and now they are also cooperating in political and security aspects also. Okay, so in this manner, then we can say that European Union is one of the best example of integration, regional integration, we can say. Okay, such kind of things are not happening in India, in South Asia, especially India's relations with neighbor have not been, let's say, a constant on a positive path. So there has been always ups and downs, not only with Pakistan. So there are problems with Bangladesh. There are problems with Sri Lanka, there are problems with Nepal also, right. So, this has been the major aspect. Also with Myanmar, we can say to some extent Myanmar belongs to Southeast Asia, but India's neighbor, we can consider it. Okay, so only good relations with Maldives. Okay, so that we can consider that a good ally, and Bhutan, sorry. Okay, so Bhutan is like our younger brother, or we will say whatever we say, Bhutan accepts that. Okay, even we are responsible for security of Bhutan. Friendship treaty is there, right, with Bhutan. So this has been the problem. We are not going to discuss what are the problems with neighbors. Rather, we should understand that India is to some extent acting as a big brother in South Asia. And these small countries are afraid of India to some extent, we will say. At the same time, they also have some kind of bargaining power here. Okay, so they know that if India is not giving us some kind of grants, then they will look into China or US or other countries for investment in those countries, and India does not want that. Okay, so this is how some kind of bargaining is being done, and that's why India has found it very difficult to have good relations. There was Gujarat Doctrine during 1990s, and Gujarat Doctrine said that just help our neighbors without expecting returns. Okay, because that is ultimately going to help India in future. This is what Gujarat Doctrine said. Okay, yes. So there are plethora of regional alliances, but finding the agenda for them is very difficult. Finding the agenda for them is very difficult. So we can understand that, for example, you can give the example of Quad grouping. So this agenda of Quad grouping is continuously expanding. There is no fixed agenda here, fixed charter is not there. Along with that, you can take the examples of other groupings, be it SAARC, or you can take the example of, let's say, BRICS grouping. You can take example of, yes, recently, yes, SCO is there. Now what is happening here, whenever a pressing issue is happening in the nearby region, they will focus on that year's summit, rather than having follow from the previous year's agenda. Okay, so this is what is happening, no fixed agenda is there, and the best example you can see is that one group undermining other groups, BRICS, IPSA. You can give this example. What is happening in BRICS? Let's say this grouping was formed of emerging economies in the world, and it was expected that they will be leading 21st century. Okay, so however there was threats was related to Russia and China, that they will to some extent lead this grouping and there will be some kind of alliance within the grouping, and this threat has come into reality. Rather, China only leading this BRICS grouping by formation of new development bank or BRICS bank, and financing other countries in the grouping their infrastructure projects, right. So this has undermined the common agenda, meaningful agenda of IPSA grouping. What is IPSA? India, Brazil, South Africa. Now you can see India, Brazil, South Africa, all are developing countries, and there is, we can say that, the scope of South-South cooperation. Use these terms in answer. It is for South-South cooperation, or we can say the cooperation among the developing countries, third world countries. Okay, there was common agenda for this, but this is overtaken by this BRICS now, and the IPSA is undermined because of BRICS now, because all countries including India is focusing on BRICS rather than IPSA. And these three also had the common agenda of UNSC reforms, multilateral bodies reforms. At the same time, they contended for permanent membership of UNSC. All three. Okay, so in this manner we should understand how these alliances, one is active, other is not active, one is dominant, other is undermined. Now, recent example of differing views of these alliances on Afghanistan, especially where the Russia and China is member, they are having some kind of soft approach towards Afghanistan, but India is member of SCO where Russia and China is there. India is member of Quad where these two countries are not there. So India is confused. So in Quad grouping also there was, let's say, stand on Afghanistan, which was very different from the SCO, the stand which was taken on the Afghanistan. Okay, so this means India's interests are not fulfilled by one grouping here. Okay, and therefore what we need to understand is that, so whenever we are talking about active grouping, we need to focus on that active grouping rather than non-active grouping. Non-active grouping in, let's say, South Asia, like for example BIMSTEC and IORA. So what is BIMSTEC? Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. जब ये आया था BIMSTEC तो ये याद करने के लिए स्टूडेंट्स को बहुत मुश्किल था. It was very difficult to remember the full form. Okay. So Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, and this IORA Indian Ocean Rim Association. So basically littoral countries of Indian Ocean region. So these regional organization or alliances, they are not active now. We were expecting BIMSTEC to be active as an alternative to SAARC. Okay, so BIMSTEC, earlier we discussed about it, membership. So SAARC is having 8 members and this BIMSTEC is having, we can say, 7 members. And what are the other members? This excludes Pakistan, Afghanistan on left side. So Pakistan was eliminated basically, which was the problem in SAARC grouping. Okay, and new members from Southeast Asia were added, which are these Myanmar and Thailand. Okay, so this was actually connecting link between South Asia and Southeast Asia, and this specifically focused on economic and technical cooperation, not political, not military or security allies. But this also, we can say, to some extent remained non-active. Okay, so what we need to focus in future, we can say that we were aspiring for these 2 active groups, APEC and NSG, but we were not given membership. Okay, so APEC is led by China, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. So we are aspiring for membership of this, but it is not given. Nuclear supplier group, it is not given because we are not having any kind of such, let's say, non-proliferation policy. Okay, so we are a nuclear, we can say, country, and where nuclear arms are being used. So that's why NSG, according to its policy, it is not giving membership. But other military alliances or those regimes like MTCR, okay, so we can say military, missile technology control regime. Yes, so we have become membership of that MTCR grouping, Australia group and Wassenaar group. So we have become of all these 3, but NSG, we have not been given membership. Remember, these 4 groupings or alliances are related to military cooperation or security cooperation, or defense related technology. Okay, now the latest one is Quad and AUKUS. So what has become the problem is that India is not vocal about open security cooperation or alliances, and this has to some extent affected our alliances with both US as well as Russia. India is not completely aligned with US, not completely aligned with Russia, and because of that these 2 countries are also not having, let's say, more cooperation with India. As India wanted Quad grouping not to be looked as security alliance, US has come up with AUKUS. This is very clear, though not explicit, implicitly this has been the agenda, okay, or the main reason. At the same time, Russia has seen that India is not that much vocal about the defense cooperation. So that's why Russia is cooperating with China, Russia is cooperating with, we can say, Afghanistan, Iran, even Pakistan, but not specifically India. But in past we have been a good, we can say, friends, but this has been the major problem, we can say. So in future, what we need to do is we need to rationalize these alliances. How we can rationalize this? On the basis of national interest. At the same time, we have to also ensure the strategic autonomy by ensuring national interest. We have to balance these 2 aspects. Okay, so if suppose the regional alliances are not working, you can go for national, we can say, level, like Quad. At present we are focusing on Quad. So like that, then we can also focus on bilateral free trade agreements. If regional or, let's say, multilateral groupings are not working, then focus on bilateral FTAs. Like for example, at present India is negotiating with Australia, Japan, right? So free trade agreements, they will be more helpful here, right? In this manner you can talk about. Now see what kind of question that can be asked here. The collective bargaining is the strength of group diplomacy, but it cannot be effective without commitment to the common cause. This is the statement from the article itself. Okay, in the last part, discuss with suitable example. So examples just now we discussed about BRICS and IBSA. You can give SARC and BIMSTEC, right? So we are talking about collective bargaining is the strength of group diplomacy. Okay, group diplomacy, regional alliances, groups of these countries. But it cannot be effective without commitment to the common cause. If suppose the agenda is not fixed, if they are not working for common cause, like BRICS, all 5 countries are not on the same table, not common cause is there. Like IBSA was there. So that's why in future it is being said that BRICS is not going to be that much effective. When the idea was mooted that it will be more effective, even more than the NATO and other alliances. Okay. So yes.
We can, sir, there is Quad, there is focus. Sir, from past history we follow about the USA. Sir, it's generally what we call, sir, making hurdle to those countries which are against their interest. So like in the Cold War era, we are shifted to Russia, so he supported Pakistan. And now in this era, China is his hurdle, so he wants us to make a hurdle for China. So in Code, we are not up to that security alliances. So he created AUKUS.
Yes.
Sir, at the end, he is fulfilling our interest.
Yes. You know what is the document of US regarding its foreign policy says? Its foreign policy is decided only or solely based on its national interest, its security interest. Okay, or we will say that whatever the policy documents related to foreign policy that US is having or other countries also, so they focus on national interest or security of US, they focus on this only. Okay, the security is not only related to defense security, they talk about economic security also. Okay, so all these aspects are the given priority. So obviously they may not be finding in Quad grouping whatever the interest they have fulfilled, and that's why they form this grouping. Okay, and yes, surely they are natural allies already. Let's say UK and Australia, they have some kind of history, and now US is joining them, providing this technology. So surely India would not have allowed that. India would not have been the part of AUKUS. Okay, so that's why the Australia and Australia is to some extent major power in Asia Pacific. Okay, so yes. Now, why Japan was not given the part of that AUKUS or that technology?
Because Japan security depends on US.
Yes, and at the same time Japan's national policy says that it will not what you can say increase its defense. Okay, so when the country was let's say reformed after that Second World War, those nuclear attacks and all these things. So after that its policy says that it is not going to have any kind of increase in defense equipments and all these things. So it is against that policy. So despite of being major power, so Japan is also having problems with China, but it is not part of it. Okay. Yes. Science over smog towers. Yes. So we need to know about this because there will be many such articles in next 1 month or 2 months regarding this pollution, air pollution. Right. So we'll have follow up on that. UPSC is also asking every year some kind of question, different framing of question is being there. So recently 2 new smog towers inaugurated in Delhi. Also the smog towers have been established in Bangalore and Chandigarh. So we should understand here that there is no empirical data or scientific basis study at world level to suggest that smog towers reduces air pollution. To suggest that smog tower reduces the air pollution. Okay, outdoor air pollution we are talking. Okay, so on the basis of this we can say understanding, the writers are saying that the government should not have invested that much amount of public funds, public money in launching these smog towers. Though Delhi government is saying that it is reducing air pollution 80% in the nearby region. Recently, Delhi Environment Minister has said that it is reducing the air pollution in nearby region by 80%. But there is no such empirical data. This is just maybe they are talking about whatever the, let's say, air quality they have the followed up regarding 1 week or 2 weeks after launching of this. But obviously air is not stagnant, right? Air is not stagnant. There will be again polluted air coming there, again it has to purify that. So surely it is not going to be the one point phenomenon. Okay, so it is understandable that indoor pollution can be reduced by the air purifiers because there is no inflow or outflow of the air. Right, there are air purifiers, you are aware about that, indoor air purifiers, right. So that is fine, that is effective, but outdoor air is continuously mixing. How can you claim that it has reduced air pollution, right. So this is the major problem. You can say there is no scientific basis. You can give the example of China. We have taken the inspiration from China to install these smog towers, and China is itself not progressing on that. China had installed smog towers in Beijing and Xinjiang province, and it is not now focusing on further progress on installing more smog towers because it has found that it is not effective solution. Okay, and now we are again following that path. So we should not, let's say, invest more money on that, rather the already established effective measures are there. There is some kind of scientific basis for that, and the public funds should be invested in that or those measures. Okay, which are these measures? For example, we can talk about expanding air pollution monitoring in, we can say, around 134 cities that are identified in National Clean Air Program. National Clean Air Program. Now, among these cities, only around 70 to 75 cities, they do not have, let's say, extensive monitoring equipments, pollution monitoring equipments. So what we need to focus is providing these equipments. Try to understand air pollution. Data monitoring is very important aspect. How? There can be immediate, let's say, measures, policy measures can be taken by the government. But whenever there is increase in pollution levels, then automatically there can be the policy measures that can kick in. Like for example, Graded Response Action Plan of Delhi is there, GRAP, that talks about like particulate matter levels when they are increasing at certain level, then a particular steps, number of steps will be taken by the government. Okay, so like odd and even, right? So it will be in news now. So the same thing is, but for that purpose we need to have the monitoring equipments. At the same time, the advisory can be given to the people to remain in the houses, indoor activity, work from home. This can be asked for certain days. Okay, this is preventive measure. Okay, at the same time, city level emission inventories must be updated periodically. This is also important. Okay, so not only monitoring and collecting data, rather it should be revised periodically. This will help the scientist to analyze that data, understand the trend. Okay, so when that data is compiled and analyzed, we can understand the trend, whether the pollution levels are increasing, whether the policy actions has resulted into decline in the pollution levels. So this is also important, right? Finally, the targeted efforts to improve air quality for urban slum dwellers who have no access to the clean cooking energy. So to some extent this is also true. So Ujjwala scheme largely in rural areas, LPG connections. But what about urban dwellers, urban poor dwellers? They are still focusing on that biomass they are using. They do not have LPG connections at subsidized or free LPG connections in urban area. So the government should come up with such scheme. So those below poverty urban slum dwellers, they should be given free LPG connections also here. Okay. At the same time, cities should strengthen their enforcement capacities by investing in people and systems that can keep round the clock watch on both egregious and episodic polluters. Egregious means strikingly large. Episodic means, like for example, during Diwali, for particular time period of the day, during festival time. Okay, so obviously the government needs to focus on enforcement of the rules. Every year, already we know that firecrackers are banned in Delhi or throughout India now, okay, during the Diwali time. And despite of this ban, or we can say restricted time period is given, right? So on Diwali at evening time period, 2 hours slot is given, something like that in other cities. Despite of these rules and regulations or the orders by the Supreme Court, they are not implemented by the people, not followed by the people, and they are not effectively enforced by the enforcement agencies also. So focus should be on strengthening these enforcement agencies, people as well as systems. So then only it will act as a deterrence on the people, okay, or those polluters. So polluter pays principle, this should be implemented, okay. So yes, in future also there will be many articles related to air pollution, but this was specifically regarding smog towers. But this does not mean you should not give solution in your answer as smog towers. Rather we will say that the other effective measures are also there. One of them is smog tower. Okay, it is not like government has not studied anything or not directly implemented this. Rather we will say that more effective measures are there where the investment should be done. Yes. Hold Sri Lanka provincial polls, Shringla pushes projects connectivity in Sri Lanka. So he is Foreign Secretary of India, he is on 4-day visit to Sri Lanka. So there he talked about the need of holding provincial elections. Since 2018, no provincial elections have been held, and we need to understand whenever we talk about India-Sri Lanka relations, 13th Amendment Act of Sri Lanka or Sri Lankan Constitution. So that is very important, and this through that 13th Amendment Act, there has been given provincial autonomy, especially to the northeastern or Jaffna Peninsula part, where Tamilian majority is there. Okay, so after civil war during 1980s, 90s, so the 13th Amendment was passed and the government in Sri Lanka conceded some autonomy to the provinces. Okay, so very important from India-Sri Lanka relations, we try to always, we can say, talk about this provincial autonomy, especially for that Jaffna Peninsula. Second thing is that 13th Amendment also talks about development programs in the Tamilian majority areas or those provinces. Okay, so that needs to be also implemented. To some extent you should remember, this is minority, right? Tamilian minority is there in Sri Lanka and Sinhalese majority is there. So the development aspect, the funding to these areas is very less. At the same time in parliament representation is also less. Okay, so this is a major aspect, and surely there are, let's say, ancestral links to India, Tamilian aspects are there, so that's why we try to appease those communities in Sri Lanka. Second thing is that economic cooperation. So the bilateral economic projects in Sri Lanka, they need to expedite an enhancement in the connectivity by sea and air between these two countries. For example, in 2020 when Sri Lankan president visited India, so in that visit India, our Prime Minister announced $15 million grant for promotion of Buddhist ties aimed at deepening people to people linkages between two countries. So you can talk about that, as it is Buddhist country and we know that origin of Buddhism in India. So Buddhist circuit program is there which tries to join or connect the different important places in India, Nepal, Sri Lanka and some of the Southeast Asian countries. Buddhist circuit. Okay, so we can say people to people connectivity. Then also we can say the focus on the land or air connectivity. So he was saying that with easing of situation in Sri Lanka, it may be opportunate for us to work on connectivity initiatives like Jaffna to Chennai flight, ferry services between Karaikal and Kankesatharai and Dhanushkodi and Talaismar and Buddhist corridor with new international airport at Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh. So Kushinagar, recently international airport has been built in Kushinagar, a very important place related to Buddhism, okay, Buddhist religion. So whenever we talk about Sri Lanka, India-Sri Lanka relations, try to remember the issues. First thing is that economic cooperation. So India is investing in infrastructure projects, like it is trying to invest in airports building and then infrastructure in terms of ports, right? So you can talk about economic cooperation. There is also bilateral cooperation in terms of food exports, food products and all these things. Second, you can talk about, let's say, tourism also in economic cooperation. Tourism is also important aspect. Then second, you can talk about religious tourism or people to people contact. Third thing we can talk about is Tamilian cooperation or Tamilian aspect, very important linkages. Jaffna Peninsula, 13th Amendment, okay. Then fourth is fisherman issue. Many a times it is in news. Okay, our fishermen goes into their waters, their fishermen comes into our waters, right? So humanitarian crisis we call it as. Okay, so fisherman issue. Then fifth one you can talk about Chinese presence growing in Sri Lanka. This is to some extent threatening India's interest, right? So such 5 important points should be immediately answered whenever India-Sri Lanka is there. Okay, is this clear? Government moves changes to the Forest Conservation Act. So yes, let me tell you the background. Forest Conservation Act 1980 was enacted with the objective of, let's say, conservation of the forest resources in the country and avoiding any diversion of forest area to the non-forest use. So whenever such kind of diversion is required, then approval from the central government is to be taken. Second thing is that if the diversion is approved, then compensation, monetary compensation is to be given. So this is how the forest, now that monetary compensation will be used for afforestation in other areas. Like we have CAMPA, compensatory afforestation fund we can say. Okay, so this is to some extent good thing, where on one side if suppose the necessary diversion is happening, then on other side afforestation is also important and monetary resources are being cut. Now why this particular, let's say, changes are being proposed? What are these changes? Union government has proposed absolving agencies involved in national security projects and border infrastructure projects from obtaining prior forest clearance from center as a part of amendments to existing Forest Conservation Act. So, in the name of the security, or we can say border security, we have Border Security Organization or Border Road Organization, BRO, right. So, it constructs roads along the border, especially this is problem in Northeast India, densely forested. So, along the border it has to clear forest for constructing roads, okay, and it requires to take prior clearance from the central government, Ministry of Environment actually, okay. So, for that purpose, so it is actually removing such kind of provision from the act through the amendments now, in the name of national security we can say, and border management. At the same time, it plans to exempt land acquired before 1980, that is before FCA came into effect, by public sector bodies such as railways. Okay, so whatever the land that is acquired before 1980, it will not be applied, or the act will not be applied to those lands that are acquired by public sector entities like railways. Huge land was acquired by the railways. But after 1980, whatever the land that is acquired after 1980, so the law provisions will be applied. So basically it is talking about no retrospective let's say implementation of the provisions of act. Okay. So yes, in this manner we should understand Environment Ministry also proposes adding a clause to make offences under the modified act punishable with simple imprisonment for period which may extend to 1 year, and make the offence cognizable and non-bailable. So the we can say penalty, imprisonment, those provisions are also being modified. There was one question related to Environment Protection Act and its provisions in prelims examination 2019. Okay, so now UPSC is going one step ahead, asking such provisions of laws, which are 4 important laws of India or environment and wildlife related. Remember them, their basic provisions are important. Which are these laws? First, Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Second, we can say this Forest Conservation Act 1980. Then we have Environment Protection Act 1986, and then we have fourth Biodiversity Act 2002. These are 4, we can add a fifth one here, Forest Rights Act 2006. Landmark, we can say Environment, Forest and Wildlife, Biodiversity related acts. So basic provisions of these acts you need to prepare. Okay, we are going to cover them in environment module, foundation batch. Okay, yes. Now moving on. Yes, US duo win Nobel for work on temperature and touch. Yes, now next 5 days they will announce all these Nobel prizes every day. Okay, medicine, economics, physics, or we can say chemistry, peace prize, they will announce now. Okay, so in medicine it is announced and it goes to 2 scientists from US. We need not to remember the names, but in which area the research was done. The research is related to basically understanding the nervous system of our skins, especially the response towards heat and pressure. Okay, so temperatures. So what it talks about, their discoveries have unlocked one of the secrets of nature by explaining the molecular basis for sensing heat, cold and mechanical force, which is fundamental to our ability to feel, interpret and interact with our internal and external environment. We feel some kind of sensation, right? Cold, heat and even pressure. Okay, so those sensory organs, let's say be it in the skin or ear or eyes, nose, so how they work. So that is being explained by these, and therefore it has helped in diagnosis, treatment of wide ranging diseases, conditions including chronic pain. Okay. So in medicine it is being given to this one. Last year in which area it was given? Scientist who discovered hepatitis C virus, 2020, Nobel Prize in Medicine. Okay, so remember this. Now, moving on. Drone based vaccine delivery model launched. So health minister launched ICMR's drone response and outreach in the northeast, iDrone. Name is iDrone. Okay. So delivery model is aimed at ensuring life-saving vaccines reach everyone. This is part of Make in India drone initiative. Okay, so this is going to help deliver medicine supplies as well as we can say vaccines, other essential drugs to those areas having difficult terrain. They do not have direct road connectivity, let's say. Okay, and reaching there those destinations requires more amount of time. So they are going to, or we can say we are going to use this drone technology. They will facilitate vaccine delivery in tough and hard to reach terrains as well as we can say medical supplies as quickly as possible. We are reducing time limit. Especially we know that mountainous topography in northeastern India, there is actually low connectivity. And because of that, we can say that the first aid or emergency health services, this is major problem there. Okay. So what kind of question was asked last year? Look at this question. Hmm? 1 and 2. If you go by logic that is being in trend regarding science and technology related MCQs, all of these are the correct answers. Do you know about this trend? To some extent it is correct also. Not all, but most of them, all of this, and answer to this question is also all of this. Okay, this was, all of these were in news in 2019 at that time. Okay, in previous year.
So they are asked drones, not water drones or air drones.
No, everything. They are asking about, let's say, successfully carried out using drones. Simply they are saying drones.
Yes, sir. The Wales is there, so I.
Yes, yes. So basically drones can be underwater drones also, no? So students get confused here. They generally, oh drone, all is well. That 3 Idiots में दिखा है ना, वो एक drone बना देता है. So that's why many of the students, they got confused between 1 and 2. Yes, obviously spraying pesticides on crop field. This was in news in the Hindu newspaper. Inspecting the craters of active volcano. This was in news also. Collecting breath samples from sprouting whales for DNA analysis. Now small underwater drones can be used for this purpose also. This was in news but not covered in mainstream newspapers. Okay, so for this purpose what you need to do is you need to follow some journals or magazines or some websites are there. I will tell you some names of these magazines. For science and tech, you need to follow Science Reporter. Just quickly glance through, okay, main technologies and their applications. Science Reporter is there. Then there is a website, How stuff work. How stuff works. So anything that is there technology related, they are explaining in basic language. I also want you to visit frequently a website of NASA for space technology, ISRO as well as NASA. But in NASA website, very well explained for, let's say, school going childrens also. Okay. Along with that, oceanology related, if anything happens from geography perspective, there is a website of International Ocean Services, something is there. I'm not remembering exactly, but Ocean Services, this is US website itself. Okay, I will tell other lecture, I am not remembering exactly. But for science, yes? Yes, down to earth is there, but largely that focuses on environment. Okay. Technology also, science and technology also, but largely focuses on environment, geography, climate change and all these things. Okay, forest resources, wildlife, everything is covered there. So dedicatedly science reporter, but I would say do not invest much more time there. Okay, just glance through it, what are the recent new technologies in news and their applications. You will find all these applications at one place. Now what students are facing problem is that all these applications are scattered in your newspapers. Like this one, up till now we talked about vaccine. Yesterday we were talking about use of drones for, yesterday we discussed the newspaper. Okay, in that recorded video I guess we discussed that. Spread of seeds for afforestation or improving quality of degraded forests, spreading those seeds in the forest. Okay, so for that purpose also drones are being used. So similar kind, right? Spraying pesticides on crop field. So you need to have follow up on all these applications. Note them down whenever such news is there in the Hindu newspaper. So yes, all of these is correct answer here. Okay, fine. So these are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Any question? What is your homework today? Those whatever the regional alliances we mentioned there. So basics about them. You need to make note of them. This is important for prelims examination. Fine? Okay then, let us stop.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.